The snow fell in gentle, almost hypnotic spirals outside the little cafe, turning the city streets into a scene straight out of a storybook. Inside, the warmth was a sharp contrast to the icy December air, but for Clara Bennett the cozy surroundings did little to thaw the knot of disappointment twisting in her chest. She had dressed carefully, a soft green sweater under a tailored coat, hair brushed into loose waves, hope fluttering in her stomach as she awaited what she had promised herself would be a magical Christmas blind date. And yet now, sitting alone at the corner table with a cup of untouched hot chocolate slowly steaming before her, that hope felt foolish, almost cruel. Her date? A man named Nathan, someone who had seemed charming and witty in the string of pre-date texts, had arrived, smiled politely, and then, in a way so casual it almost seemed rehearsed, said he wasn't feeling a connection, that he didn't think they were compatible enough. He had left before her shocked mind could respond, leaving behind nothing but the echo of his departing footsteps and a crisp winter wind slipping under the cafe door. Clara's heart thudded painfully in her chest, and she buried her face in her hands, trying not to let anyone see the embarrassment she felt. This was supposed to be a night of warmth, maybe even a little magic, but instead it had turned into humiliation. If you believe in kindness and second chances, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because this story reminds us that even in our lowest moments, the smallest gestures can change everything. Clara sat for what felt like hours, watching couples laugh and friends gather, their joy and chatter forming a soft, distant background she could barely hear. She wrapped her scarf tighter around her neck, wishing the snow outside would fall faster and erase the entire day. Her mind replayed Nathan's polite but final words, the kind of rejection that slices sharper than outright cruelty because it feels so calm, so certain, leaving no room for misunderstanding. Just as she began to accept the heavy weight of disappointment settling into her chest, a tiny voice broke through the haze of her thoughts. "Excuse me, can we join you?" Clara looked up to see a little girl, no older than 7, clutching a small, stuffed reindeer to her chest. Her cheeks were rosy from the cold, eyes wide and hopeful. Behind her, a woman, her mother, Clara assumed, nodded apologetically, smiling. "We didn't want to sit alone," the mother said softly, and she really wanted to say hi. Something in Clara's heart softened immediately. She gestured to the empty seats with a shy smile, motioning for them to sit. As the little girl carefully climbed onto the chair across from her, Clara felt a warmth she hadn't felt since arriving. It wasn't the heat of the cafe or the soft lighting. It was a sudden, unexpected kindness. The girl's name was Mabel, and she spoke with a gravity that somehow made her words feel weighty beyond her years. She told Clara about the Christmas tree they had decorated that morning, about the tiny misadventures of the family cat, and about the paper snowflakes she had hung in the living room window. Clara listened, laughing quietly at Mabel's animated storytelling, feeling the tension in her shoulders ease for the first time in hours. The mother, Helen, joined in with stories of her own, of small joys and hard-earned lessons from the past year. For the first time that night, Clara felt like part of something, like she belonged somewhere other than in the corner of a cafe, nursing a bruised ego. As the minutes stretched into an hour, Clara realized that the world she had been mourning, the world where a failed blind date defined her evening, was simply one version of reality, not the only one. She watched Mabel pour syrup over her pancakes, her tiny fingers fumbling with a fork, and felt an unexpected surge of hope. The little girl's unguarded laughter, free from pretension or judgment, reminded Clara that joy didn't always come in the form we expected. Sometimes it arrived unannounced, wrapped in innocence and sincerity, offering a different kind of magic altogether. Helen noticed the change in Clara too, "You've had a rough evening," she said gently, "but sometimes the universe has a way of introducing the right people in the strangest ways." Clara smiled, realizing that Helen was right. What had begun as a painful rejection was now transforming into an evening she would remember, not for heartbreak, but for connection and unexpected companionship. The conversation meandered naturally, with laughter weaving through small confessions and shared smiles. Clara realized that she hadn't noticed the time passing at all, lost in the simple joy of being present with others. Mabel leaned her head against Clara's arm at one point, her tired eyes half closed in contentment. It struck Clara that she hadn't felt this kind of peace in months, not since life had become a series of obligations and disappointments, each one stacking on the last. Tonight, somehow, a stranger's kindness and a little girl's bravery had reminded her that she could still be seen, still be valued, still find warmth in a cold world. Eventually, the evening drew to a close. The snow outside had turned into a sparkling blanket, reflecting the streetlights in tiny diamonds. Clara walked them to the door, feeling lighter than when she had arrived, as if the weight of rejection had been lifted by a simple act of trust and friendliness. Mabel waved from the sidewalk, her small mittened hand brushing against Clara's, and Clara realized she was smiling in a way that felt almost unearned, like she had been gifted a secret happiness she didn't have to fight for. Before leaving, Helen pressed a small paper heart into Clara's hand. "Mabel wanted you to have this," she said. "She says it's a reminder that sometimes the world surprises you." Clara looked down at the heart, simple and handmade, and felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. It wasn't a grand gesture, no extravagant Christmas miracle, but it was enough. Enough to remind her that kindness existed, that connections could happen in unexpected ways, and that the world was bigger than the pain of a single moment. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and share. Tell us your story of unexpected kindness, and subscribe to Kindness Corner to join a community that believes in the power of second chances and the magic of human connection. As Clara walked home that night, the snow crunching softly under her boots, she felt something she hadn't in a long time: hope. Not the flashy, urgent hope of a perfect Christmas or a perfect date, but a quiet, steady hope that life could surprise her in the gentlest ways. Sometimes the universe didn't need to hand you the perfect scenario. Sometimes it simply needed to show up through the laughter of a child, the warmth of a smile, or the courage to ask, "Can we join you?" And in that quiet night, Clara knew that though she had been rejected, she had been found in the most unexpected of ways. A little girl had reminded her that even when the world turns its back, there is always a hand willing to reach out, a heart willing to share its warmth, and a chance for magic, even on the coldest of Christmas days. Special request: this Christmas, take a moment to notice the little acts of kindness around you. They may just change someone's life.